What is going on, guys? Welcome to Project Potter. Welcome to On Your Left. This is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier review. We're back on the MCU couch. This is normally where like Aaron and Vic would join me, but this is a solo review, guys. We are reviewing episode 1 of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And guys, man, is this TV? Because it felt like a damn movie. Disney Plus just continues. Chef's kiss. They continue to crush it. Shout out to WandaVision. Really enjoyed WandaVision. But WandaVision was like a slow, like emotional roll. Really, really great stuff. So shout out to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, I think, did that, and Kevin Feige. Amazing stuff. But the MCU rolls on. This is more of like an action-based show, and man, Falcon and Winter Soldier just nailed the openings. So this is going to be a quick review, guys. We're going to do like a quick recap, similar to our MCU format. Go check out the other Reviewers Assemble videos, guys, if you haven't seen those before. We're going to do like a quick recap. We're going to do a score, and then probably a Strongest Avenger. It's just me, this one. This is the first solo MCU review, but, with COVID and everything and schedules and all that, the guys couldn't make it. So, with that being said, I'll try and make it as entertaining as possible, guys, but thank you for checking out Project Potter. My name is Kyle, your host. We got our Captain America shirt here, guys, and how does it start off but with an homage to Captain America? We cut to Anthony Mackie. He's got the Cap shield on his bed. There's a line where it says, like, this shield is yours now, and he's like, how does it feel? When old Cap gave him the shield at the end of Endgame, and he's like, feels like it belongs to someone else. And that's kind of the theme here. So he takes the shield, he puts it in the bag. Anthony Mackie, of course, as Falcon, he doesn't know. I think Sam Wilson is his character. He doesn't know like what to do. He's like, do I take up the mantle as the new Captain America? He's like, do I return it? But it just doesn't feel right for him. Like, you can tell right away. Like, Anthony Mackie does a great job just conveying those emotions where it's like, this isn't his shield, this was Cap's shield, and he doesn't want to just be Captain America or the new Captain America, because he's like, that's not who I am. Like, I am Falcon. Like, he knows who he is, and, we see that. But basically, it starts off with Anthony Mackie. He returns the shield. There's an awesome shot of, like, Steve Rogers, and they say, like, Steve was a hero, and he sacrificed everything, and there's a great homage. There's, like, the vanishing. Don Cheadle's in this, so I didn't know that we were going to get Rhodey in this, but he's in there, which is awesome. And just really, like, they shot it in with the black bars, like widescreen, and that did a really great job of making it feel like a movie, because, man, this is TV. It's about probably about a 43-minute episode with credits. Damn, dude, 43 minutes screen time, about 7 minutes of credits, so it's about 50 minutes overall. But, man, it felt like a movie. It really did, and they do such a good job of connecting it to the MCU. And not just having it be like, oh, this is a spin-off, it doesn't connect. Like, they mention the blip. They have the vanishing on the like in the museum, and like it's got all the names there, and it's just it just feels connected, and it feels like a continuation of the movies. And especially with COVID and everything, where we haven't gotten Black Widow to come out, we haven't gotten any new MCU movies. It's really, really great that Disney Plus can like fill these intermediate spots, but also feel like the MCU. Like, it's high quality, it's AAA quality, it's crazy. So that's really cool. Anthony turns in the shield, and or Sam, I should say, and it's the Captain America shield. It's amazing. It's made of vibranium. They put it in the case, and they're like, cool, that's good to go. Then we get an amazing sequence of Falcon flying through. They're chasing down like some guys who are like stealing something. It seemed like a generic bad guy, but he's trying to get like a hostage back or something. They're in the plane. He flies into the plane, he kicks some asses, and then like there's bullets flying. The pilot goes out, and it wouldn't be a Captain America show, guys, if a fucking plane wasn't going down, because, the plane started going, and I was like, of course, dude. Like, is there anything Captain America related where the plane isn't going down? So I was like, all right, that's a nice little trick, I guess. But Mackie's fighting through everyone. They all go out in like paraglider suits, and he exits. He's got his wings out. This is the first time. Falcon's always been a cool character, but this is the first time where like we get to see Falcon do cool shit. Like, I feel like he didn't get enough to do in the MCU overall. We got like little glimpses of him like fighting Ant-Man when Scott goes to like steal the plans or whatever, and that's cool. But like, we saw glimpses of Falcon, but this is like similar to how WandaVision kind of brought out Wanda and it showed her as a character and Vision and focused on those two. Like, this is like, oh, we get to dive deeper into not only Bucky, which we'll get to in a second here, but Sam Wilson, who, like, as Falcon, he had kind of like the background character, you know, and he had cool stuff, but like he was always like Cap's sidekick, or he was always like flying with Cap, or, you know, doing something with Cap. So this is where he gets to shine as his own character. And I love Anthony Mackie. He really does a good job. But we get to really dive deep into his character, and I'm really excited to see where that goes. And there's a lot of, this episode does a really great job of like feeling real, and they really tie it into the real world and the struggles too that we'll get into in just a bit here. But I don't want to spend too much time on the recap, guys, so we'll kind of go quickly here. But yeah, Anthony Mackie goes through. There's one dude who's like shooting. They all get out of the helicopter, or excuse me, the plane, and Mackie, like, he dives out, and then he is going after the guys, and there's one dude in the paraglider suit, and he turns around, he's like firing bullets through the air, and it's like, wow, that's pretty dope that you're like shooting bullets through as you're free falling, dude. And Mackie goes and like pulls his parachute, and he's going after each one, and they go through a canyon, and it's really cool because it's like some Millennium Falcon shit. It's over there, you guys can't see it in the shot, but yeah, like they go through a canyon, and like the camera cuts in close, and it's like above the shoulder, and it's like, it's really cool. It's like really, really well done. And Mackie, like, he goes through, but his like wings are too wide, so it like scrapes the wings, and he's kind of thrown off. But eventually he kind of tracks these dudes down. They're like, hey, you're getting close to Libya airspace. Like, that's going to be a big problem because he's got his guy Torres, who's like working with the military. He's down on the ground, and he's kind of like scouting it out for him. So Torres is working with Mackie. Or Sam, I should stop calling him Mackie because that's not his character's name. And, you know, they're like, hey, you're getting close to Libya airspace, dude, you gotta cut it off, we'll find another way. And he's like, yo, I already have. And there's like heat-seeking missiles on him, and then he actually goes through like the new plane that they go into, takes the guy, or takes the hostage or whatever. It was kind of like a generic mission, co-op mission, honestly. It was cool, but I was like, all right, it's just like a bad guy for the bad guy's sake. And the missiles go in there, and it blows up, and I think it kills that guy. And Mackie's like, all right, cool. We figured it out right before he hits the Libya airspace, where they presumably were like shot him down. So that was cool. He goes back down. Then we get like a Dark Knight Returns, not Dark Knight Returns, excuse me. Dark Knight Rises, like at the end there, were spoilers for Dark Knight Rises. If you haven't seen that movie, I don't know what you're doing. But at the end, where Christian Bale is sitting with Catwoman, with Anne Hathaway, and he looks across and he sees Alfred. Looked a lot like that, where they're like sitting down. Torres is like, he's doing like a YouTube thing, or not a YouTube thing, but he's doing like almost like an Instagram, or like he's like doing a social media thing. And I was like, all right, this kind of took me out of it, but then like revealed it back in. And Mackie's like, oh, bad guys doing bad things, huh? And Torres asks him like, yo, I just want to let you know about Steve. He's like, there's a lot of crazy internet conspiracies. He's like, did you take Steve to the moon? Is he hiding on like a moon base? Did you fly him up there? And Anthony Mackie's like, nah, dude. He's like, you don't have to worry about that. He's like, there's no moon base. And he's like, but I gotta go to DC. And Torres is like, oh, cool. What are you doing there? And he's like, moon stuff. And I was like, just fantastic stuff. So he goes away. And of course, in DC was when we got the infamous On Your Left, where Anthony's running, or Mackie's running, and then Cap goes on your left. So that was cool, because I was like, oh, he's going to DC. Is he going to run by? Hopefully they play back to that. But basically, the rest of the episode focuses on like Falcon's struggle. We do then cut to Bucky though, and Bucky is like, he's Winter Soldier, and oh my god, this is so cool, dude. He busts through. There's a dude standing in front of like a mural, and he rips him through and takes him out, and he's like throwing like ninja stars or whatever. And Winter Soldier is back, and oh my god, we haven't seen Winter Soldier in so long, dude. And we presume this is a flashback, but we don't know at this point. And man, it's just sick, because he takes out a bunch of dudes. There's a poor kid who's like, oh, I gotta study for my final or whatever, but we later find out, wrong place, wrong time. He's trying to get his door open. He's like shaking his hand, and Bucky can't leave any witnesses. He's like, yo, I'll tell everyone I didn't see anything or whatever. And Bucky shoots him, so he kills that kid. And then he like wakes up like a cold dream, and Bucky's sleeping on the floor, and he doesn't have the long hair. He's like shaved, and we get an amazing sequence where Bucky is seeing his therapist. And as someone who's about to go into season 4, Mr. Robot, guys, this gave me huge Mr. Robot vibes, with Elliot talking to his therapist played by Gloria Rubin. Krista there. Yeah, this was really, really cool because Bucky, like, they got him in front of like a thing like this, but it's like trees and shit. And she's like, hey, are you still having your nightmares? And he's like, no, I haven't had any nightmares lately. And she's like, James, we've been doing this long enough where I know when you're lying. And he's like, no, I haven't been having any nightmares. And he's like, I got some intel. And he's like, but I followed your 3 rules. Don't worry. And the 3 rules we find out are, number 1, don't do anything illegal. And it's funny because it cuts to him like placing a chip on the car and then like remote controlling the assailant car or whatever. And he's like making it fly around and shit and goes into a space. He's like, number 2, don't be hurt or don't get anyone hurt. And he's like, wow, that's a pretty big rule. Why isn't that number 1? And she's like, dude, don't question me. And she takes out the notebook and he's like, wow, notebook? That's pretty passive aggressive. And she's like, look, if you don't talk, I write. And it's just a really good back and forth that they have. And then he's like, number 3 is he has to say like, hey, I'm no longer the Winter Soldier. I am Bucky Barnes and I'm trying to make amends or whatever. It's really cool because he like knocks out the dude in the passenger seat and then the woman is like freaking out and he's like, don't worry, I'm not the Winter Soldier anymore. But that's really, really cool. Eventually we cut to Bucky, who goes to a bar where he meets like an old Asian man and he's got these rocks there. And this part I was like, well, this is kind of weird. I don't know how this is really connected. But he talks about his son, how he's in the wrong place, wrong time. And, he gets sad about that. We then cut to Anthony Mackie, who goes back to see his sister, which is really cool because we didn't know anything about Sam Wilson's family in the MCU. So he's got a sister. We found out in this pilot that he has 2 dead parents. We also find out that his sister was part of the blip because we find out later on when they're going for a loan that he's like, you don't have any the last 5 years you don't have any income history. And she's like, well, I can't have income history because I didn't exist for 5 years. And this guy who's giving them the loan is like, yo, let me get a selfie with Falcon. And it's funny because he's like, do I know you from somewhere? He's like, did you play for LSU? And then Anthony Mackie just is like, he does like the wing thing. And he's like, Falcon. He's like, I knew it. So that was great. But it's funny because Falcon, like, he goes home, we find out that like they have a boat, excuse me, Falcon and his sister, which I didn't catch her name there. But it's called like Paul and Darlene, I think is the name of their ship. And it's like a broken down boat. And I really like this story because Anthony Mackie goes in there and, he's trying to fix up the boat. And she's like, oh, I'm going to sell it. And she's like, I just need to float long enough for us to sell it. And he's like, no, that's mom and dad's boat. Like, that's part of our family. That's our history. He's like, half the boat is mine. He's like, we didn't talk about selling this. And it's interesting because like, Anthony Mackie, like you can tell he wants to fix it up. He's dealing with, despite being an Avenger, which we find out when they get denied for the loan, and he's like, look, I'm sorry, but I can't approve you for the loan. And it's like, despite being a world famous Avenger, like someone who played a huge part in saving the world, Anthony Mackie, it reminds me of like Spider-Man really, or Peter Parker, where it's like Peter Parker's Spider-Man, he's saving the world and doing all these crazy things, but he still can't afford rent. And it's like, it's crazy because Falcon's getting no reconciliation. And the guy's like, well, did like Stark pay for your stuff? Or he's like, how did you get by for 5 years? He's like, I know you didn't just like get by on goodwill for a long time. And Sam is like, well, there's people who donate and people want to help and stuff like that. But it's a really, really interesting part of the MCU that we haven't seen where it's like, oh yeah, we didn't think of like, what if these people don't have money or they don't, you think like they're these huge heroes, but financially how is that going to come through? And you think the government take care of them. And even Sam says like, I have government contracts and stuff, but he's like, my sister is struggling and they don't have any money and she's trying to sell the boat and she's trying to get a loan and she can't get a loan approved by the bank because she got blipped. And it's like, man, it's crazy. It's a really, really, really cool real life like part of the MCU that we haven't seen much of. So I really like that they're tying it back to those roots. There's a bit where I'm going to probably do this the whole series, but where Sam is trying to start the boat and he's like, come on, baby. And he's like trying to start the boat and it's not starting. Just a really cool thing. You can tell he wants to fix it up. And I'm assuming by like the end of the series that like they're going to fix the boat up and they're going to sail on it or float away or sell it or some shit. But like, it's cool because the boat is like rotting and you can tell he's probably going to fix it up or at least try to. So then we kind of cut there. Torres calls Mackie and he's like, I'm sorry, we do get a scene there where there's like a group, like a militia group, almost looks like the Winter Soldiers, really. So we don't know who that's going to be, but that's interesting. But they're all covered in masks and they like rob a bank or something. This was kind of generic too, but basically Torres is like, you're under arrest, and the guy just takes his arm, like snaps it or whatever, throws him down, and then kicks him. He like owns Torres basically, and Torres tells Sam, he's like, hey, we got a problem. There's like this group and they took all this money or whatever, and he's like, I don't know, Mackie was like, oh, do you think it's like, he like has an idea of who it might be, but we don't know. And I was thinking too, and I was like, is this another Winter Soldier? But I think they all got taken out in the MCU, so I don't know. But this is really cool because I'm like, I don't know who this could be, but it kind of leaves the door open for either a new villain or someone, maybe like a returning character, or just a new big villain that we didn't know about, maybe from the comics or something. So that's really cool. And then at the end here, Mackie turns on the news, and they're like, there's like the mayor or someone, and he's like, hey, America's fallen in hard times. Like, America needs a symbol of all its great values. And he's like, so I'm going to introduce you to the new Captain America. And we see a shot, someone coming out in Cap's outfit, dude. Right here. This outfit right here. And it's got the shield, which Mackie just donated. So now it's like public. It's a public item now. And now anyone can take up the shield, kind of. And so that's what they were kind of using, Sam, to get the shield back, and they got it. And now it's like some dude, and I don't know who it was. It looked familiar, but it was like some dude who looks kind of like Captain America, but he's got like a smirk on his face, and they're like, the new Captain America. And it cuts to black, and I was like, wow, dude, what an ending. What a way to kick off the pilot. Like, just incredible. And I had goosebumps, and I was like, wow, I'm ready for episode 2 right now. So that was super exciting, and I'm excited to see, obviously this dude isn't going to live up to Steve Rogers, so I'm excited to see like kind of this guy fail and what that means. And I'm sure Sam's going to have a problem with that, or does he take over the shield because he knows this guy can't do it, and everything that's going to happen. So that was super cool, but that is how the pilot ends there. So for our strongest Avenger, guys, there, it's Anthony Mackie for sure. I mean, he killed it. This episode was mainly focused on him. We saw him throw like a grenade to blow up one of the planes there. He's doing all these cool action scenes. He's super, super likable. Like, he goes in and, he goes back home, and just Anthony Mackie's such a cool dude. And I really like that it felt like a real life thing here, and not just like, oh, you're a superhero. And, like even like Stark was relatable, but it's like, he was kind of separated from everyone else. So Mackie seems more of like a people person. So it's cool that they kind of focused on that strength. And Bucky was awesome too. I mean, man, he was really, really good. So I'm excited for those two to kind of team up or whatever they're going to do here, and like just for them to carry the show. But they were both very good. But I think Anthony Mackie is the strongest Avenger for this one for good reason. For a score, guys, man, it's a really good way to kick it off. It was really strong. There were a couple of points where I thought there were some lulls, but for the most part, I thought it was really, really good. I don't want to score too highly, but I mean, just looking at it from start to finish, the way it handled kind of addressing Captain America's legacy, the new Cap, which is crazy, Falcon and how he's dealing with real life issues and getting alone and stuff. I thought it was really strong and opened me up to some things that I haven't thought about with the MCU. They mentioned the blip, they mentioned Stark, we got some action scenes. That was awesome. The action was all AAA, like it was all top notch. So with all that being said, guys, the package as a whole. Oh, and I didn't touch on this, sorry. Bucky, he's got a picture of his son that died, wrong place, wrong time, and it's the guy that Bucky killed in the beginning where he shot him, where he said, I'm not going to tell anyone. So Bucky ended up killing his son, so we think that was a nightmare. Well, guess what? Now it turns out that Bucky's nightmares are just past events, and so that shit really happened. And so that's kind of a huge moment that I missed over, but that was awesome, because it's like, we think maybe Bucky's just having nightmares of what happened before. Well, it did happen before, and it turns out that it was probably pretty recent. And so Bucky is either like still being controlled, or he's still being Winter Soldier, or he still doesn't have control. And it's like that. There's a whole rabbit hole we can go down about that. So I'm super excited to see how the show handles that and where that kind of goes on. But yeah, with all that being said, guys, all the interesting threads and just everything that was going on there, I got to give it a 9.4. I mean, it was really good. It was a great episode, and it ended on a cliffhanger where I was like immediately ready for the next one. I was like, man, I wish episode 2 was there right now because I would sit down for another hour easy and watch it. So super, super strong. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with it, but I'm super excited for the show. My expectations for the show are sky high, probably way too high, honestly. But I'm really excited. I love to see where this is going. I love how it connects to the MCU, and I love that we're getting these like little pieces of Disney Plus MCU shows. And I think the MCU is really, I mean, they've already crushed it with the movies, and now they're crushing it with these TV shows. It's like they're putting the similar level of production value into the movies as they are these TV shows. And it's just crazy because it's like they really hit the sweet spot where it's like we're going to give you these big movies, but in between that, we're going to hit you with these really good shows. So if you're waiting a year or two for movies, guess what? In between that, you're going to get some shows that connect everything or focus on a subplot that you didn't think we were going to hit on in the movie. And it's like, and it's all just so good. And I'm so excited for the MCU. And it just reminds you like how damn good the MCU is. Like that Marvel logo comes up and like I get excited, like I get hyped. And it's just like, it's only going up. And I feel like they're just hitting their stride. And now that they know that TV works, they're going to put more resources and they're going to put more budget in there. Hopefully eventually all this COVID stuff with the vaccine, hopefully that clears up and then we can go back to normal work schedules and then things will be coming out quicker. It's all so exciting. I don't know what else to say, honestly. Yeah, that's it, guys. That's been it for episode 1 of On Your Left. So no one's on my left this time, guys. But thanks for checking out the channel. Thanks for checking out Project Potter. Like, comment, subscribe. And we'll be doing these weekly. So I'll see you guys for next week. Until next time, guys, On Your Left.